Welcome to Community Conversations. I'm Mayor Beach Pace, and we are at the Hillsboro Downtown Station in downtown Hillsboro, surrounded by food carts. And we're joined today by Deanna Palm, President of the Washington County Chamber. Welcome, Deanna. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mayor. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So let me ask, after 24 years of serving as the president of the chamber, how, when you look back and reflect, what three things are you most proud of as far as serving the business community in Hillsboro and in Washington County?
Wow, it was hard. We have, through the leadership and the folks I've been privileged to work with, there are a lot more than three things that I'm proud of.
Feel free to say four.
Right.
Oops.
But I would say,
Thanks.
Definitely our work around the diversity councils. Super important because I do think that when I look back on my work, as I started with the Chamber of Commerce in 1984, I think, my first Chamber of Commerce, and then with the Hillsboro Chamber, now the Washington County Chamber, back in 2001. Our boardroom table looked different, right? And we didn't really reflect the face of our community. And for me, it needed to be an intentional change and a welcoming. And so I think that the development of our diversity councils and ensuring that everyone has a seat around our table and has a voice to all of the different policies that we're setting, the work that we're doing, we needed to be a more welcoming organization. And I really feel that work has been intentional, and I think we're doing that work, and it's reflective in things like our Candidate Training Academy that we are in our second year now. And I looked around the table as we had our first meeting, and there are very few people that look like me.
Right.
And that really made me feel very honored that we had created a trust in our community that made people feel like they could come into our organization and be a part of it and have a voice to it.
And I know you have the business advisory councils, right? And the different advisory councils. Could you talk? I'm throwing a curveball, maybe softball at you, but that kind of goes to the changes. I imagine the business advisory councils didn't exist back then.
The diversity councils, correct. Yeah, and so creating those 5 diversity councils, but also one of the other business councils we've just launched is the unincorporated Washington County Business Advisory Council, which also...
It's a new one.
It is, and it's reflective of our name, I think, and the change of our name back in June of 2021, going from the Hillsboro Chamber to the Washington County Chamber, really to be intentional around, reaching out to those unincorporated areas that don't have a voice either. So for me, all the work is around, creating a table at which everyone has a place, and whether that's through our diversity councils or the business advisory councils that we represent. And so that's really a point of pride for me. I think another area would be our work around COVID-19, right? There's no blueprint for, how to assist and help.
Nobody had a blueprint for that one.
No, and so we all learned together, and I was really proud of the work that the Chamber did to ensure that resources were available for small businesses that were just trying to, stay afloat. No ability to pay rent, no resources, no, PPE, all of those things that were new for everybody. And I think the Chamber took a leadership role in making sure, right? It was just, everybody was scared. And, there, in our board of directors, again, it's about the leadership that we have around our organization that has made us as effective as we are. Really said, do what you need to do to ensure that we can make sure that our small businesses are supported and resourced,
and not just survive but thrive, right?
And I think our name change was then a part of that outcome of COVID-19 was making sure that those businesses that weren't represented by a city chamber of commerce had the ability to find those resources and get that assistance that they need, not only just under the worst conditions, but also in the best of conditions as well.
So you mentioned 1985. We talked about your 24 years leading this chamber, and then 41 years in the chamber work. What big changes have you seen in business over that span? You mentioned COVID, which I think was a big shift. Yeah. What other ones come to mind?
I think definitely understanding of growth and how communities grow and what makes sense for communities in terms of how they grow, how they work together to define what that looks like for their community, I think is really important. I think that definitely remaining together and not divided. I think political conditions can make us divisive around things like growth, and I don't think that's very productive. And I think that these conversations need to happen with community. And I think Hillsboro has done great with its Hillsboro, 2020, now 2035, with really engaging with the community to say, we want to hear what you want, right? This is your community. How do you want it to look in 2035? It was very new to me when I first started at the Chamber. Just thinking about that plan sort of came together in 1999 with a launch in 2020. Am I getting all this?
Yeah.
2001, sorry.
Yeah, 2001 to
2020, yes.
Yeah.
And then on to the 2035. But I mean, that was new when I first came to the Chamber here in Hillsboro and Washington County. I'd never seen anything like that community plan. And I think that the sweet spot is the fact that it is of the community. It's not something that the city government does. They really do the engagement. They listen to the voices. And then when you look through the original 2020 plan and you see these big check marks of some really cool stuff that got done. And it got done because all of these lead partners said, I'll put my hand on the plywood and I'll help out.
That's very exciting.
And it's really cool. Yeah, I mean, it's really, I think it's a model for communities to look at, Hillsboro has done it, and really follow along so it doesn't move too far away from the community, right? We know that government's going to have to get a lot of that stuff done, but always making sure you're checking with community to say, is this what you meant?
Yeah. Is this where we're headed? Yeah. I once heard a proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together. And I think that's what you inspire, is that we're going to go far together.
Well, and I think definitely that the blueprint of the Hillsboro 2020 is what we say to community, right? We want to go together, and that helps in people understanding sort of what's coming up in the future, right? And when people have a feeling like they've had a say in something, they become invested in it. And now all of a sudden, I go back to my Catholic upbringing. We have all these apostles, right, that are now a part of it, and they're out, helping people understand how we got here and where we're going.
Yeah, and to evangelize about it, right? To use the word.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you could, I know you're a champion of small business, obviously. If you could change anything to help businesses succeed, what would you change?
Oh, boy.
How much time do we have?
Right, exactly. I think Hillsboro has done a really phenomenal job of looking at economic development through the spectrum, whether it's a home-based business, whether it's a small business, retailer on Main Street, or whether it's the largest private sector employer in the state of Oregon. I mean, that's a big spectrum. And I think Hillsboro's been really good about understanding, getting to yes. How do we help a small business get to yes? Which means open their doors, start ringing the cash register, start getting a return on that investment, which every small business, they go into business to fulfill their passion, but also to, actually make money, right?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, you need to have a paycheck. You need to be able to pay for these things. And the more success that they have, the more success the community is going to have, and the more success the state's going to have. And we're an income tax-based state. So every time you have a small business that creates a job, we should bring out the brass band.
That's a good thing, right?
The brass band.
Brass band,
yes.
Red carpet.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wonderful. It's fabulous. And I think that the state of Oregon has not done as much as it needs to do to really understand what it means to be an income tax-based state and really remove any of those barriers to job creation, and making sure that, we have a lot of rules and regulations that come into effect on the 25th employee, so it's like from 0 to 24, these regulations, and then these regulations that happen when you become an employer of 25. Well, that 25th employee is the most expensive employee you're ever going to have, right?
Right.
And I don't know why we want to tell businesses, just go to 24.
Right.
We should want them to go.
It's almost inhibiting growth.
It is. It is. And I think that some of those regulations and those rules and things that we've kind of just brought forward year over year over year over year, and now it used to be a small stack, and that now it's a bigger stack, and some of those things I think need to be contemplated and potentially they need to go away. And if we are really truly wanting to make business thrive, we have to look at it from a business owner's perspective. What are the things that are keeping you from growing? What are the things that are keeping you from thriving? And it could be things that are completely out of our control, but just asking the question makes us a better work that we do.
Yeah. So is there a business success story or two that you can recall that, stand out in your mind where the chamber helped an entrepreneur achieve their goals?
Well, I won't take any credit for this because I really have to give all the credit to Jaime Miranda and M&M Marketplace. Jaime worked for me right when I first started with the chamber, and he was already busy working on M&M Marketplace. They are this year celebrating their 25th year in business, and when I look at what they do at M&M Marketplace, it's not one business, it's 70 businesses. And the work that Jaime's done to ensure that entrepreneurs have access to resources where they can build community. It's been his passion for as long as I've known him. And he's just done a phenomenal job of building that business into what it is. And I mean, he's had all the hits that all the other small businesses have had. And even more, I would say, being a Latino-based business in their current climate is difficult.
Yeah.
And I think that, he's always one that would try to find what's the silver lining, what can we do, what's the positive place we can start from and move forward from that. He doesn't look at the downside, which his entrepreneurs that are within the M&M Marketplace, they take his lead on that too, looking for that optimism.
Yeah. Well, and I know many of the businesses that were at M&M went from booth to building, right? And some of them have several locations, which is really inspiring.
Yes.
So what are you looking forward to in retirement?
I would say...
Shifting gears.
Yes, shifting gears. I'm looking forward to not hearing the alarm every day. I was telling that to somebody, they're like, oh, I wake up without an alarm. And I'm like, oh, well, like you, I don't. And then I'm going to be a grandmother for the first time in February. And so I'm looking forward to that. And the timing just kind of seemed to work perfectly where my daughter lives in Thailand. So we'll get to go see our grandbaby.
Well, what an incredible trip, too.
It is. Yeah, it's really lovely. But the timing worked out great. And just spending more time, I think, doing the things that everyone does in retirement. It's like I'll do this when I retire. And that list is now quite large, right?
It's a book now.
It is a book. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll miss the people that I have the opportunity to engage with on a daily basis. And I'll miss, helping someone see their dream come to fruition. Or they come in, and really the old saying, what the business plan on the back of a cocktail napkin. I've seen that. It works, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And to watch them grow and see that passion come out, that's been inspirational for me for the past 41 years. That's what gets me up every day is maybe I can do something or say something or assist someone. And it'll make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's been, I think, a really shining light for me.
That's great. So if somebody wanted to learn more about the Washington County Chamber and how to get involved, how would they do that?
They could go, I think our website's our best place to go, which would be Washington County Chamber or.com. And they can also just pick up the phone and call me. And my cell number is 503-473-4486.
Wow, you heard it here, folks.
It is out there everywhere, and people call me all the time. And
just to get information and help and advice.
Yes, and it's just amazing the stories that I hear. And people are very, small businesses especially, is so resilient. And again, they're just wanting to give something, right? Everyone that's in a small business wants to do something that they think will make someone's lives better.
Wow.
There's no downside.
Yeah, and they're creating jobs, creating employment, creating business, creating money, and so it's great. Well, Deanna, you said when you're reflecting on retirement that you're going to miss people. We're going to miss you. Thank you so much for all the work you've done to make Hillsboro and Washington County thrive. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks to all of you for joining us for Community Conversations. And come on down to Hillsboro Downtown Station if you want to grab a bite. Deanna won't be here, but the food will.
It might still be here.
Yeah.